All right, let's talk about that sinking feeling. You know the one. That moment when your perfect, brilliant plan just completely goes off the rails. It isn't just you, I promise. It happens to literally everyone. And it has a name.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. That kitchen reno you swore would take a month? Yeah, it took 3. Or that quick report at work that you blocked out a day for? It ended up eating your entire week. This happens all the time, and there's actually a name for it, the planning fallacy.
And you know what's wild? The best story to really get this comes from the guy who literally discovered it, the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman. He fell for his own trap before he even knew what to call it.
Okay, so picture this. It's the 1970s. Kahneman gets this dream team together. We're talking top academics, seasoned teachers. The goal they set for themselves was huge, but man, their confidence was through the roof. So what was this grand mission? To design a whole new curriculum for high schools on how to teach good judgment and decision-making. I mean, you can't make this up. These are the world's top experts on the subject, and they're planning a project about planning.
So they're about a year into the work, and Kahneman has this idea. He asks everyone on the team, hey, write down, anonymously, how long you think this will really take to finish. The answers came back pretty consistent, somewhere between 1.5 years and 2.5 years. So they all felt pretty good settling on 2 years. 2 years. Sounds reasonable, right?
Now, what they were doing, without even realizing it, is what Kahneman later named the inside view. They were totally focused on their situation. You know, their brilliant team, their perfect plan, the nice smooth road they imagined ahead. In their minds, this project was special. It was unique.
And this right here, this is the core of the problem. It's the huge clash between how we feel we should plan and how we really should. The inside view feels so natural, right? It's our project, our team. It feels personal. But the outside view, that's the cold hard truth. It doesn't care about your special details. It just asks one simple, kind of brutal question. So what happened to everyone else who tried this?
And to make things worse, this whole thing is supercharged by our natural optimism bias. We tend to imagine the best-case scenario. We think about everything that will go right, and we kind of just push aside all the things that could go wrong. You know, the random delays, the unexpected problems. We basically build this perfect little fantasy plan and convince ourselves it's the most likely thing to happen. But then something clicks for Kahneman. He has this moment of insight. He turns to one of the guys on his team, an expert named Seymour Fox, and he asks him a totally different kind of question, an outside view question. He says basically, hey Seymour, forget about us for a second. Of all the other teams you've seen try to do something like this, how long did it take them?
And apparently, the room just went dead silent, because Seymour, without even skipping a beat, just drops this absolute bombshell of a statistic. Turns out he had this outside view data the whole time.
Just look at this. This was the reality check. Their confident 2-year plan wasn't just a little optimistic. It was, statistically speaking, completely delusional. The data said the most likely thing to happen was that they would fail, period. And even if they somehow pulled it off, it was going to take at least 3 times longer than they thought.
So what does this team of world-class experts on decision-making do? They're staring at undeniable proof that their plan is basically a fantasy, and they just ignored it. They actually just went, nah, that won't happen to us. We're different. The inside view was just too tempting, and they let it win.
And, well, you can probably guess what happened next. It was as predictable as it was painful. That cozy, optimistic plan, it was about to run face-first into a brick wall called reality.
So that 2-year deadline, it came and it went. The project just dragged on and on.
The funding started to get shaky. The momentum was gone. 4 years go by. People start leaving the team. That excitement from the beginning, totally gone. 6 years. They're still slogging away, nowhere near that finish line they were so sure about.
The final result? It took 8 years. 8 years for the project to finally just fizzle out. By then, Kahneman wasn't even in the country anymore, and the government had completely lost interest. The textbook they spent all that time on, it was never used, not by a single student. Their plan was off by 400%, and in the end, it was a total failure.
But here's the silver lining. This massive failure taught us something incredibly important. It gave us a real, concrete way to fight back against this very human flaw. And it's a technique called reference class forecasting.
That might sound fancy, but it's really just the official name for taking the outside view. It's simple, really. Instead of getting lost in the details of your own plan, you start somewhere else. You start by looking at a whole bunch of similar projects that came before you. You force yourself to shift from thinking, my project is special, to thinking, my project is just another one of these.
And it's something you can actually use. It's a 3-step process. First, you've got to find your reference class. So, if you're planning a kitchen remodel, find a bunch of other people who've done similar remodels. Step 2, get the real stats. Not what they hoped for, but what actually happened. How long did it really take? How many went over budget? What was the failure rate? And finally, step 3, you use that data as your baseline. That's your starting point. Then, and only then, do you adjust it a little bit based on what's truly different about your specific situation.
At the end of the day, what this is really all about is replacing your gut feeling with actual data. It's about having the humility to admit that your intuition is probably wrong. It means you have to ignore that nice little story you're telling yourself and listen to the much less exciting but way more accurate story the numbers are telling you.
So, next time you're mapping out a project, big or small, and you're feeling super confident, just stop for a second. Ask yourself this one simple question. Are you looking inside or are you looking outside? Because the answer could be the difference between success and your own 8-year failure.